Hi, class. It's Miguel here. I don't have my three people to ask questions because I'm pretty ill today. So I just have my wife. She's gonna be my audience. But I'm gonna go ahead and start. My speech is about the Second Amendment, and I just want to talk. That's what I'm gonna talk to you about. So the first 10 amendments are commonly known as the Bill of Rights. Things like freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press are very important things in American society, and those are included in the Bill of Rights. One other amendment that I think is extremely important is the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms. Um, I just want to put a disclaimer out there. I am actually not a gun owner. I've never owned a gun, but I do think they are important, and they serve their purpose in American society. I've fired weapons as a hobby. I'm also in the military, so I fired weapons in basic training and stuff. Um, but I am not a gun enthusiast at all, so I want to put that out there. The Second Amendment protects the right of the people to keep and bear arms. That's written like that in the United States Constitution. You can look it up, and it was adopted December 15th, 1791, along with 9 other amendments, and it gives you the right to protect yourself against your fellow man and the government. Whether you exercise that's right, that's not really my concern. My concern is that you have the option and the choice to exercise that right. That is what the Second Amendment is all about, giving you the option and choice. Other countries like England and in the European Union, they took that choice away from you, and I don't think that would necessarily work here in American society. I've done some research on what it is to buy a weapon for me, myself, at my local base exchange. All I need is my driver's license, my military ID card, a LES, and my proof of orders. And that's all it takes. I can literally pick it up 2 hours after I present all the information and pay for it. I could also buy one online. I could order one in a magazine. I could buy it off the street, or I can go to a gun convention. So if it's that easy for me to buy it and for you to buy it, just imagine how easy it is for criminals to get weapons. Extremely easy off the street. Obviously, criminals are called criminals because they break the law. They do things like kill people, threaten people, and take weapons to areas where they're supposed to be these gun-free zones. Places like schools and churches and workplaces, government buildings, you're not supposed to be able to bring weapons, but law-abiding citizens don't, but criminals do. And that's where these people go there, so that way they know they're not going to get shot. For instance, a criminal who's going to commit a mass murder doesn't go to a gun convention because they know they're going to get shot back at. They go to areas where there's students, whether from elementary or high school, or they go to areas like hospitals, like recently in San Bernardino, California. I wouldn't bring a gun, and I don't think you would either, to a church, a school zone, or anything like that. Which is why Georgia has recently passed laws to further protect their civilians and gun owner rights. For instance, you can now bring a gun to a bar in Georgia. You can now bring a gun to government buildings where there's not a security checkpoint. For instance, in a smaller area where there's not a police scanner in a courthouse, you can now openly bring a gun to a courthouse. You can now bring a gun to an airport, not past TSA checkpoints, but now up to that, right before that portion of the airport. And now schools and churches can give employees and visitors the option to carry a weapon to protect the people there. So that's very interesting. A lot of people, it's caused a lot of controversy from different areas. However, in my opinion, the more guns out there, the better it's going to be, because people who don't break the law, they're going to be safe. The people who break the law are the people that we're concerned about. So, a mass shooting is defined by the FBI as 4 or more people who are shot. at one time. A mass murder is defined by the FBI as 4 or more people who are killed. So I don't know. A mass shooting to different organizations mean different things, and different numbers required by definition on them mean that it's either just a mass shooting or a rampage. It's not as big as a mass shooting, but this does not include terrorist organizations. So what happened in San Bernardino, California, is not going to be considered a mass shooting per the FBI. It is considered terrorist organization, a terrorist activity. Drug dealers or gang violence, if there's a gang shootout, that is not considered mass shooting or mass murder. So these numbers are kind of construed based upon what organization you look at. And according to Newsweek, school shootings this year alone, the last major one in Oregon at the community college, that was a 45th one this year alone in 2015. Just imagine if somebody was there with a gun who was able to protect everybody that was there, students. We're talking about an area of 18,000 part-time students and 3,000 full-time students, ranging from 18 to people who just got out of the military. We also have the right to protect ourselves from our government. Before I talk about that, I wanted to leave you with a story of a story of heroism. In December 2007, a gunman opened up fire in a church with an AR-15, and one of the females there, she had a concealed handgun license, ran to her vehicle, went back inside the church, saw him in the hallway, and fired 5 rounds, striking him 3 times. Once he fell down, she walked over towards him. He picked up his AR-15 again and fired rounds at her, and she returned fire, striking him 1 more time. As she got closer to him, she realized that he was reaching for a pin from a grenade in his jacket. He was getting ready to blow himself up and everybody else, and she shot him 2 more times, ending his life. And that is what I'm talking about. Stricter gun laws are important, yes, but for people who are mentally ill, criminally deranged, those are the people that we need. We need better background checks. However, the law-abiding citizens should be able to carry their weapons just about everywhere, in my opinion. Also, the reason why we have this amendment is because of the right to tyranny against our government. Now, this doesn't mean that we will rise up and overthrow a government. This means that we will, if necessary, defend ourselves. For instance, in Mexico, the corrupt police and the corrupt military are fighting against the cartels, and there's no one looking out for the public. If the public was able to at least protect themselves, give them that option, I'm pretty sure they would. I would. Also, history repeats itself. We all know that. We've heard that term over and over again. A lot of people think it's crazy that our government would do something insane to where we would have to defend ourselves. But I'm pretty sure 12 million Jews thought the same thing about the Nazi government in Germany. 50 million Soviet civilians who were killed by Stalin. 50 million Chinese people who were killed by their own government. It happened time and time again in Cuba, Vietnam, Cambodia, over and over. These are the reasons why we have this amendment, so we can defend ourselves if need be. So, in conclusion, these are the things that I think that we need. We definitely need law and order. We need background checks. We need to limit mentally ill people from being able to obtain these weapons. But law-abiding citizens like myself and you should be able to do what we have to do to protect our loved ones and ourselves. That's all I have for today. Do you have any questions?
Yes, I have a question. If you believe in the Second Amendment and it is easy for you to obtain a gun, how come you do not own one?
Well, it comes to a cost of it's money for one. Right? Owning weapons expensive. Also, I went stationed overseas, so you can't bring a weapon there. So it'd be I wouldn't say it'd be pointless because I could just bring it to my parents' house. However, owning a weapon and being in the military, doesn't guarantee that I'll be able to carry it with me everywhere I go. So that's one of the reasons why I don't own a weapon. I've talked about owning a weapon with my wife over and over again, and she's all for it. However, there's certain things that we need to do as responsible adults. Like one of the things that we got to do is get a safe. I won't get a gun without a safe because I have an 8 and a 6-year-old in my house. So until I get the right safe and the right gun, and until I have more education on the weapon myself, I feel fairly confident that I can pick up any weapon right now and fire it. However, I'm sure my wife, it's not the same thing about my wife. And my son and my daughter don't know the respect of what these things can do yet. They're not old enough to understand that these are very dangerous things and they can take someone's life away. That's why I don't have a gun.
Do you believe in gun education, and do you think it would be effective in lowering gun violence or accidental deaths?
No. Well, yes, I do believe in gun education. Do I think gun education would be a good way to lower crime? No, because the people who commit these crimes are criminals. They're not going to listen to any education. The only education that I feel that I need at this time in my life is just training over and over and over again. You know, gun education. The criminals aren't going to take a class to get educated. We cannot even keep illegal immigrants out of this country. How are we going to keep illegal guns, illegal weapons coming in from the border? These criminals are just going to continue to get weapons over and over and over again, no matter what we do about it. So it's our responsibility to protect ourselves. I'm not taking anything away from police officials, but you know, sometimes it could take a little time for a response. And if there's 4 or 5 good people who know how to use a weapon in a situation where it's called for, it would be very helpful for them to be there.
Do you believe there should be stronger laws in regards to gun violence for those who do break the law, such as overseas, the consequences are higher?
Well, I wouldn't say the law overseas is higher. For instance, there's no such thing as a life sentence in the United Kingdom. So you can literally kill somebody and not get a life sentence because there's no such thing as a life sentence in the UK. What was the first part of your question?
Do you believe that there should be stronger laws or consequences for those who break the law with gun violence?
There's talk about people who, or there's laws wanting to be made on the research that I've done about people who break the law should get 10 years federal because it's a federal crime and not a state crime. According to the FBI, I believe that's where I saw it. That I'd have to do more research, but I think that they wanted a flat 10-year federal penitentiary confinement to where, you know, it's not like someone who breaks a law and only gets 2 years and then gets out in 12 months, you know. It's different stuff like that. There should be a way to standardize gun laws. You know, one person in one state shouldn't be able to take someone's life and get a shorter time than somebody else who did it in a different state, in other words, if that helps.
That's all.
That's all you have? All right, well, thank you for listening, and put me a comment at the bottom if you have any questions. Thank you.